Wonderful. And I'll remind you the phone number, the area code here is 603-413-0223. Okay. So, something that I discovered a while back, like I said, after suffering from depression and anxiety for many years, often at times it was crippling, I didn't see that I would ever write a book or connect with my intuition. What I found now is that what we struggle with is often something, once we've overcome it, is something that we're able to teach. Okay? And so I discovered for people, there's something in our bodies, our physical bodies, called chakras. And these are our 7, there's more than 7, but there's 7 main chakras. So if you want to Google that, for anybody that doesn't know what that is, they're really our connection to God, to the universe, higher power, whatever you want to call it. We are not alone. We're not left orphans. We really do have a lot of abilities within us that are powerful. And when we hear the phrase that all that we need is within us, it really is true. I've been coaching with people for a few years now, and what I've discovered is that within these chakras, within our bodies, holds and contains great information, not only in terms of what maybe our 4th grade teachers said, or what our parents said, or what our friends said, anybody that intentionally said anything that may have felt like not a positive experience, or good experiences. Everything is in our chakras. So what can happen is, I'll talk about these spiritual centers in a minute and why I call them wealth centers. It's because these centers really can get blocked. It's like if you have, imagine all this energy within you and all these things that are happening, all these things that are said to you, it's like little by little, they start to get into your energy field and in your chakras and in your aura, and they start to become muddy and drag you down, and suddenly one day you don't know why you're not feeling good. Okay, so if you've ever had an aura picture taken, if you've ever heard of an aura picture, it's our energy field that extends around our physical body, and you can actually have a picture taken where you can see what the colors are, how muddy they might be, how vibrant they might be. I had one done years ago when I first started doing readings at an event, and I felt like it was an amazing way to actually have a picture of something that was happening to me before I went to a doctor. Okay, so every emotion, everything is in our chakras, in our energy field. So what I discovered upon working with people, I really started the first couple of years of my work doing readings. And then I knew that there were a lot of things that would not be cured or fixed in a half an hour or an hour. And see, so suddenly I was guided by Spirit to begin to work with people, and I was actually guided to develop a program that included chakra clearing, and then I've just recently renamed it to Accessing Your Wealth Centers. Okay, so I'll try to explain a little bit about each center and what may be in there, what may be affecting you positively or negatively, and maybe some ways for you to clear these centers yourself, or at least be aware of them so that you know that if you're not feeling your best, there's ways other than medication, if you will. Okay, well, here's another caller. Great.
All right. Thank you for calling Intuitive Millionaire Coach. What's your first name? Hello, caller. What's your first name?
Oh, okay.
I might have scared him off.
I don't think so.
No?
No. Okay, so the first wealth center I want to talk about is called, let me get my little notes here. Now again, I've renamed the chakra system in the Hindu Sanskrit terms, thousands of years, is called the root chakra, okay? It resonates to the color red. I've renamed it foundation to make it more current, if you will. It's our foundation. Our root is our foundation. It's our spiritual center in our physical body that helps us feel safe, helps us feel grounded, helps us feel, Maslow's hierarchy of needs would include having a roof over our head, food to eat, anything to do with losing jobs, anything that would make your foundation feel shaky and feeling fear has to do with your foundation or root center. Okay, so again, I mentioned on my Facebook page I was going to highlight a little bit of my Inner Millionaire program. And when I work with people one-on-one over a course of months, we go through each foundation completely, and we find out things like, the root causes of maybe why we feel shaky, because oftentimes it's not just losing the job or feeling unsafe. There's usually seeds that have been planted knowingly or unknowingly by other people, and these things get stuck in our energy field and in our different chakras, and before you know, we are feeling shaky. So I'm like kind of a psychic detective where I can go in and just be like, you know what, I know this experience happened, let's release it. And then once you release it, pull it out by the root, it no longer haunts you. So this is something that, healing work that is a benefit, because once you uncover the difficult or challenging things in this particular center, then you can find ways that will actually increase your sense of security. So I call it the wealth center or foundation, the foundation wealth center, because there are things in there that can make you feel incredibly secure. All right, go ahead.
Thank you for calling the Intuitive Millionaire Coach Show. You're on the air. What's your first name?
Melanie.
Melanie, hi. What's your question for Ann?
Hi, Melanie.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for calling.
Am I going to be financially stable in the future?
Oh, boy, that's a foundation question, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got here. All right. Well, I can say yes or no really easily, just so you know. Yes, you are. No, you're not. But the kind of work that I do is I get other kinds of messages around helping you figure out why you're not, because it's not just a quick yes or no kind of answer. So just some of the messages, the cards that I pulled, resolve not to persevere. We are never broken. When your world falls apart, hang on and break feel and feel confidence from within. I'll show you the pictures. There's a lioness here. Resolve to persevere. We are never broken. When your world falls apart, hang on and break free and feel confidence from within. Now, when I created these cards, I have to tell you, when your world falls apart, hang on is one of the more challenging cards in the deck, as well as the message to resolve to persevere, we are never broken. Because it's like, if you know tarot, there's something called a tower card. It's like the card of doom, or it's like, how am I going to fall down and never get up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're in that kind of place, that is probably, the ground zero place of really discovering whether you have inner strength or resilience or not. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Because the bigger message I'm getting for you, Melanie, is that there's a certain helplessness or paralysis that you may have experienced in the past, but it's becoming more important than ever for you to manage the emotions that might get out of control, kind of stay in the present moment, take a more practical, logical approach to, if you want more financial security in the future, what I've learned after losing literally a job every year of my life up until a few years ago, because my sole purpose was around me finally saying to God, I surrender, I work for you, I don't work for a certain employer. So I have this whole other thing going on where I actually am able to utilize my own gifts and talents as a means to live in the world, okay? Kind of that entrepreneur thing. So tell me a little bit more about the work you do, and let me see if I can get some more answers for you. So it's about you being more active, like not living in fear about what might happen, but more about you deciding how you're going to get from A to Z. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you need a job that isn't so susceptible to, you're not going to play the stock market right now, those kinds of things. So tell me a little bit more about your work, like what you do and what you think you want to do.
I work at a cell phone company as a consultant, and I'm thinking about applying for the next level up, basically, working with businesses instead of just consumers.
Is there a commission element? What's causing you to feel your foundation being shaky?
Yeah, there is, and I'm recently single.
Okay, that'll do it.
And I own a home.
Yep. Okay.
So I need to do more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just pulling a couple angel cards. I got emerging and playtime. You might think, what does that have to do with my foundation and my security? But it's important for you to love what you do, and to, like, there's a whole way of living in the world that there has to be elements. Tell me about the elements of joy that you have around the job that you have. What do you enjoy? Is it customer service? What is it that you really like about what you're doing?
I'm good at it.
That's a good thing.
But
you're not like having a terrible day at work and going, yeah. You find fulfillment in what you do on some level.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, but when you say good at what you do,
absolutely.
Are you good with people? I mean, what are you good at?
I'm good with people. I can learn technology fairly quickly. And I really enjoy the company I work for, their ethics.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Where they've come from, and I also enjoy my coworkers.
Excellent. You know, one of the greatest spiritual laws in the universe is gratitude, and if you can begin to focus every day on the gratitude that you're experiencing instead of the fear, that's going to be a big shift. You know, I worked, when I went through a difficult time years ago, I was waitressing at the Olive Garden, and I thought, instead of being like, okay, I just went through a divorce, and I need to take care of my children, and I'm, you know, waitressing at the Olive Garden, I feel kind of scared. What I did, because I've developed this connection with spirit and having to humbly really learn some things like gratitude and appreciation, I just started to focus on being like the best waitress I could be. I know that sounds, you know, like, okay, so what does that have to do with anything? It's like literally I would forget that I had an employer, or, you know, all this fear stuff goes on in jobs and whatnot. I really started to focus that I was really working for God and company, and that as long as I was providing service in the way that I was as kind as I could be, I was as patient as I could be. Does that make sense? I felt like I had safety where otherwise I might not. It's like establishing a connection with the universe I found to be very powerful to overcome any feelings of fear around what might happen, because I feel like, you know, again, what you call it, God, the higher power, if you believe in there's a higher order of the universe, there's always work to do if you're coming from that place. Does that make sense? Like, if you can help people at your job and you can give the best service that you can and be as kind as you can or helpful, or if they're in a bad mood, if you just, you know, lighten their day on some level, I feel like just that feeling that you have will vibrate in the universe like, you know, Melanie's, you know, let's keep her in this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Fear can kind of evict us from things. You ever notice that? It's like when people complain about how much they hate their job, suddenly they lose it. I think that's because they don't have the, you know, the gratitude thing. What you put your attention on grows. So if you can focus on being grateful for what you can do, I think you'll start to, the fear just can't exist in two places. That's another thing. If you have a love of what you do, you can't be thinking about how scared you are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I guess when I got the playtime and the emerging, it's like, remember that